Shalom. Let's continue with Psalm 122, a song of ascents of David. Let me note before I go on, ascents, Ascents, having to do with going up. In this case, the idea of going up to Jerusalem, because Jerusalem was a place where the pilgrims would have to ascend to from lower valleys surrounding the city. So Jerusalem, being situated in a higher place, also represented a spiritually higher place. So let me read the psalm for you now. I rejoiced when they said to me, "We are going to the house of the Lord." Our feet stood inside your gates, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem built up, a city knit together, to which tribes would make pilgrimage, the tribes of the Lord, as was enjoined upon Israel, to praise the name of the Lord. There the thrones of judgment stood, thrones of the house of David. Pray for the well-being of Jerusalem. May those who love you be at peace. May there be well-being within your ramparts, peace in your citadels. For the sake of my kin and friends, I pray for your well-being. For the sake of the house of the Lord our God, I seek your good. It sounds like the psalmist is composing this at a time after the Jerusalem temple had been destroyed by the Babylonians in 586 before the Common Era, because he's talking about a view of the past. Our feet stood inside your gates, where tribes would make pilgrimage, where the thrones of judgment stood, the thrones of the house of David, the Davidic monarchy, referred to here in past tense. And so while the psalmist thinks about and muses about Jerusalem's history as the holy city where the temple stood, where pilgrims would come from throughout the Holy Land to celebrate, especially on the pilgrimage festivals. The psalmist prays for a day when the temple will be reestablished and when Jerusalem will finally be at peace. It's notable that in verse 6, the psalmist says, Sha'alu Shalom Yerushalayim. Sha'alu Shalom, or Shalom Yerushalayim. Pray for the well-being of Jerusalem. The word Yerushalayim can be understood as a combination of two Hebrew words, Yerusha, meaning inheritance or legacy, and Shalom, meaning peace and well-being. The Yerusha, the legacy and inheritance of the people Israel, ought to be a place of peace. It's also interesting that the psalmist chooses to use words that have military connotations. Ramparts, citadels. May there be well-being within your ramparts, peace in your citadels. Only a city that is prone to siege needs ramparts and citadels. These are terms of war. But the prayer here is that those wartime structures, edifices, should no longer and ever be needed once peace is established in the holy city. The psalmist also mentions, may those who love you be at peace. To me, this makes me think of the fact that there are warring parties, religions, cultural, ethnic groups who are at war and believe that Jerusalem is their holy city. And of course, the most conspicuous would be the certain Muslim and Jewish populations, all of whom claim Jerusalem as their holy place, and they are not living in peace, but they all love Jerusalem, and they all love God. And so, why can't it be that opposing sides who love the same things, they love the holy city, they love God, why can't it be that they should be able to live in peace? The psalmist dreams of that day, just as we too, in our time, dream of the time when Israelis and Palestinians and all different kinds of groups can be living in peace and with mutual understanding. Maybe it's a dream. It is certainly a vision, but it is a vision inspired and backed by a loving heart and by a very deep disposition of faith and hope in God, because the psalmist believes that if enough people acknowledge and believe in the one God, they will learn to live together in peace and harmony. And Jerusalem, as the holy city, is a symbol of that peace. The way things stand right now in an imperfect world that often feels broken to us, symbolized by a holy city where people often fear to go into certain neighborhoods because they worry that they will be threatened or attacked by virtue of their religious or ethnic heritage. That state of being in Jerusalem, which symbolizes a state of being in our world where opposing sides continue to hate one another and fear and misunderstand one another. But Yerushalayim, the heritage and inheritance of peace, is something that our society needs to continue to shoot for, that we need to aspire to that vision and to realize that vision and not put it off for some kind of distant messianic future, but to hope and pray that this can be realized in our lifetimes. Peace in Jerusalem, symbolizing peace throughout the whole world. A time when no longer will we need weapons of war or ramparts or citadels, but then all people can sit together. Hine matov u'manaim, shevet achim gam yachad, when all people behold how good and pleasant it is for all brothers and sisters to sit together and dwell in peace. Thank you.